Guess what today is? Hey everyone, Cristin Som here, and guess what today is? It is present day. Oh my gosh, look at this box. So our sponsor for Jingle All the Way is Oh My Darlings, and she sent me a huge box. She's always so sweet and so generous. So we're gonna just open this up, see what we got in here, and then we are gonna go over all the stuff, and we will also do a prep video. Oops, sorry, I hit the light with my big box. All right, so I'm opening up this box. Look at all the, oh my goodness, so much stuff. So let's just see. So we'll get rid of the wrapping. All right, so fun stuff. Oh my gosh, let me just show you. Oh, look at. Wow, did you get your present day yet? Make sure to order from our sponsor, Oh My Darlings. There's a link underneath this video, and you know what? I'm going to give you a link here since I keep hitting my light. With my big box. I want you to get a big box too. So click on that link to order from our sponsor for the Jingle All the Way. All right. So for the stuff I already have, I'm just going to tell you. You need to have the Jingle All the Way book. I think she has a couple left, maybe. I'm not absolutely sure. So remember that this is an older project, a very older project. And so they're harder to find. But our sponsor did get a bunch of supplies for us, and she created a fabric kit for us. She's jumped through all the hoops. So that's the first thing is you need the booklet. It comes with the CD that has all of the designs. All right, so you need that booklet, so make sure to get that from our sponsor. And then there's a thread kit. So I have mine, I put mine in this box. I don't know if there's an official box or not, but I already had these in my stash, so I just grabbed them and I put them in one of my boxes, so I'm all ready. There is a list of all of the thread colors underneath this video, so you can check what you have, and if you need any of the threads or you need the entire thread kit, make sure to order that from our sponsor. All right, and then I also have my own fabric that I bought. Oh boy, that's really heavy. So I bought all the fabrics tons of years ago, and so I'm going to be using that mostly. I think there were a couple that I don't have that I will need to use the replacement, but when we get to the part of the prep video, I'm going to show you this is the original and this is the substitute from our sponsor, and I will do that on every video for every block that we work on together. So don't worry about that. So let's go over what we have here today. So she sent me the light mesh cutaway. She knows I like to do a few blocks in one hooping. And when you need to use your bigger hoop, this is for like the 9x14 or the 10x16 or whatever big hoop that you have, you need this bigger stabilizer. So this is the 20x10 yards, and she has this available. So make sure to get your stabilizers and your batting and all of your supplies from our sponsor. We always want to make sure to support our sponsors that jump through all these hoops to do all these things, especially these older projects. It's harder for them. So make sure that whatever you need from them, try to support our sponsor in any way you can. Oh my darlings. All right, so that was the stabilizer. And then I see a big bag of batting. Wow, look at that. That'll be fun. All right, big bag of batting. You're definitely going to want your batting. And in the prep video, I will tell you, I will add a picture. I haven't done that yet, but I will add a picture for what size batting that you need on each block. All right, and then the extras for the extra information for our border blocks, all of that. So I'll add that in the end of this video, so you can just do a screenshot of it. And if you're in our Cristin Creates group on Facebook, I will add that in the file section so you can download it if you prefer. All right, and then look at how cute this is. I wonder if she made this or she got it. Look at this ornament that she sent. How cute is this? It says Jingle All the Way 2024, and it's got the design of one of the Christmas trees. I'm really curious. I'm gonna have to reach out to her and ask her how she did that, if she did that or if she found it. How that's super cute, super cute. So the other thing is she wrote in here the substitutions are in order. So all of your fabric kits that you get from our sponsor, she's putting them in order that we will need them, and that is so helpful because some of the greens all look the same and some of the browns and all of that. So I'm going to go over each of those, but just know that when you order from our sponsor, she's got them in order for you. That will make life so much easier. What does this say? All right, so we'll go over this part of it. Look at what a great job she did. She found some of the original fabrics too. Oh boy, that's cute. Fun. All right, so fabric kit, you will need a fabric kit. And then it looks like these are probably the extras, maybe the borders and binding and stuff. So she's got those in a separate bag for us. And then the backing kit. Don't forget your backing kit. I almost forgot that I need a backing kit. So she sent me a backing kit. Make sure to get your backing kit. I think it was 3 yards of fabric that we need. This is a big one. So don't forget your backing kit. So it is this green swirly fabric. All right. That's the one that she's using for the backing. So the other thing that we need is the embellishment kit, and she created an embellishment kit just for us with all of the supplies. Look at how cute she packaged this. She's got a little picture of the Jingle All the Way quilt, and then it's got ribbons. Look at those, how fun. That's for inside of our snow globes. How ingenious of her to think of things that we can put inside of our snow globe. Very cute. So it's got the Mylar in here. It looks like it's got the what's it called? I'm drawing a blank on what that's called. I'm forgetting, but I will add it in the notes. So anyway, the embellishment kit, make sure to get it. Oh, look at, there's even little beads in here. How cute. She did such a good job figuring out everything that we need. All right, so embellishment kit. So, and then there's also a whole set of Mylar. It looked like there was some Mylar in here too. There's Mylar in the embellishment kit. This might just be an extra, I'm not sure, but it's got different Mylars as well. We do need a lot of Mylar on this project, so make sure you've got your Mylar. All right, and then there's a little gift in here. What is this? It says, gift for you, great stuff. Thread wrap and ruler stick. How cool is that? What a sweetheart. She's always so sweet to me. She's a very nice gal. We love to support her and her company, Oh My Darling. So this is thread wrap and ruler stick. So many uses. This is a must for any sewing room. Wrap spools of thread, multi-use, no sticky residue, and reusable. So this is something you can get from Oh My Darlings as well. That looks really helpful. All right, cool stuff. All right, and so that's all the supplies. So like I said, I'm going to turn this into not just a present day video, but also a prep video. So one thing, let me move this big box. Sorry. All right, so one thing, I mentioned this in the announcement video too, and I want to make sure and point it out here. So if you go on Kimberbell.com, I don't remember where I found it. I'll add that. I think it was like under products and then updates, product updates. All right. There is an update that is really key for Jingle All the Way. So if you look in the Jingle All the Way book, it's an old book, keep in mind, right? So this was a long time ago, and it just has like a list of the fabrics. It doesn't say the cuts. It doesn't have all our usual stuff that we've gotten used to. So it just tells you need a fat quarter of this one and a fat eighth of this one. So if you go onto Kimberbell.com, though, they created the entire list that we're used to having now with our newer projects. And so they created this for us. So if you just download that, print it out, you'll be all set with all of the cut sizes for each of the fabrics. That's super helpful. So one thing I also want to point out, there are some chenille blocks in here. All right, there's like Christmas trees that we will do chenille, and a stocking cuff. So whenever there's chenille, don't stabilize those fabrics. Believe me, it will make it impossible to do the chenille, that pretty chenille look that we are going to do on some of these blocks. So what I did, and I recommend it for you as well, is if you go, so first off, start by numbering your fabrics. That will make it easier when I go over each of them for you so that you know what is what. So on number 10, it is the green, I don't know the names of these fabrics. It's Doodle. I think it's called Doodle. So the green Doodle fabric. The second one down, it says Chenille Tree. Those you don't want to stabilize. All right. So what I do is I write a messy little note on it with a little line out, and I say, don't stabilize this. And then here's the key. Oh, we've got thunder. Oh boy, do we have thunder. And now my dog is scared. Oh, that was so crazy loud. Hi, Archer. It's okay. It's okay. That was crazy loud. I don't know if you heard that. That was really scary. So the other thing that I do is at the end, there is a fabric cutting diagram. And this is really helpful. It makes it so that you put out your fabric and then you cut to make sure that you're getting everything that you need from that fabric. And so like this is on page 4 of the download. So on that one, see, here's that green Doodle fabric. So I put a little X on here because I do use this as my guide. And so then it will help me to remember, not just from that first sheet, but also from the fabric cutting guide. So I put a little X on those to say, don't stabilize those. So that's very important. Anything that says chenille. All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, and like I said, I'm going to go over each of the fabrics, so I shouldn't really, but I'm going to just confuse you a little bit. So that number 10, like I said, that green Doodle fabric, there's a chenille one on there that you don't want to stabilize. And then the 2 down from there, so number 12, it is a green, darker green fabric with dots and flowers on it. That one also has some chenille trees. So it's the second item down from there. So this last one, number 12, second item down, that one also don't stabilize. All right. So again, write it on your paper and then also write it on that fabric cutting guide. Put a little X on there. All right. So those 2, you definitely don't want to stabilize. And there was 2 more, 1 more, 2 more. So on the second page, page 2, the very first item, this is, it's got, what do you call it? So it's like the orange peel. It's like the quilting orange peel lattice. I think the fabric is called lattice. I could be wrong about that, but that's what I call it, lattice. So it's the one with the lines on it. So that one, the second item down as well. So this is fabric number 13, the top of page 2, this one, and then the second item down that has some chenille trees on there. So you don't want to stabilize that. So again, put a note on there, put a note on the fabric cutting guide for that one, which I'm going to show you because it's hard to see. It is on page 4. So this third one on page 4, so we've got this third one here. We're not going to, this is the dots and the flowers one. All right, that darker green. Can you hear that thunder? Oh my goodness, this is insane. My poor dogs are going to go crazy. So this is that dark green. It's got dots and flowers on it. That one has some that we are not going to stabilize. So you can see I put a little X on there. All right, for the ones that we're not going to stabilize. And then the lattice, I wrote lines on it. So it is this on page 4, it's the second row down and it's the second one. So here's the first row, second item. And that one also has 8 pieces that we are not going to chenille. So it's all these 5x5 ones. So write a little note on there not to stabilize those. All right. And then there was one more from there. It is the white houndstooth, if I recall, for the stocking cuff. So that is on page 3 and it's fabric number 29. All right, on page 3. Oh my goodness, it sounds like it's hitting my house. Sorry, you guys. This is insane. Page 3, fabric number 29, it's the houndstooth. And again, it's got some that you don't want to stabilize. So it says, hi Lily, it's okay. Stocking with chenille cuff. All right, so it is the third item down on the houndstooth, and you're not going to stabilize that. And again, write yourself a little note to, it's okay, honey girl. Page 5, you're going to write, so on page 5, the top of page 5, this is that extra part that's from Kimberbell, remember, from the Kimberbell download. So the first line and the third fabric, so 1, 2, 3, third fabric, this one has some chenille also. It's the 2x3 designs. So the 2x3 cuts, we're not going to stabilize those as well because those are going to be for chenille. All right, so those are the only ones that I want to point out. Don't stabilize those. That will be very important. Leave those as they are, cut them, get them all ready, but don't stabilize them. And then we will go over, those are the only ones that I found that can't be stabilized. Obviously we don't stabilize like mylar or felt or anything like that, but those ones for the fabrics. All right, and then I'm going to come back after I get my fabrics from Oma all situated, and I will tell you, I'll go through each of the fabrics one by one and any certain notes on those. Hey everyone, I'm back. So I went through all of the fabrics and I got all the substitutions, and I found a few more that we should not stabilize. So let's just go through every single fabric. All right, so start, like I said, by downloading that document from Kimberbell. It's a PDF with the updated cut instructions, all right? And then number them. All right, so I'm just going to go by the number. So number 1 on page 1 is the black with white dots. All right, black with white dots, and there aren't any substitutions. There isn't a substitute, so you should receive this from our sponsor. But the very first 2 items are border blocks, and I recommend cutting those a 1/2 inch larger. So where it says 6.5 by 6.5, I recommend cutting 7 by 7, and the next one that says 8.5 by 6.5, I would cut it to 9 by 7. All right, that's my recommendation. Border blocks, it's totally up to you. You can do them with the original cut size, but in my opinion, it's easier if you cut the border blocks a 1/2 inch larger, because that makes it so that you can tack it down when you quilt it. All right, so it's up to you, but that's my recommendation. All the border blocks, where you see it says border blocks, my recommendation is to cut it a 1/2 inch larger. All right, so this is number 1. Let's see, where am I going to put it? All right, and then number 2 is the black with holly leaves. This is number 2 on page 1. All right, and no changes to this, and it doesn't show that there's a substitution, so you should have received this from our sponsor as well. All right, and then number 3 is the black with houndstooth. I believe this has been discontinued, but I think she must have had some because they don't have a substitution for this. So this is fabric number 3, and the only change on this is there is a border block. So it says border block 2.5 by 6.5. I would cut it to 3 by 7 if you're able to. All right, that's my recommendation. And you know, if you don't have enough fabric or you don't want to cut it bigger, that's okay. It will work. It's just my recommendation. It does make it a little bit easier to do the border blocks. All right, and we are going to quilt them and sometimes embellish them a little bit, so it's nice to have them just a little bit bigger, and then we'll cut them down when we get there. All right, fabric number 4 is the black plaid, and again, I don't have a substitute for this one, so I'm assuming you received this one from our sponsor. All right, and there are 4 border blocks on this one. So the last 4 of the cut sizes on this one, cut it a 1/2 inch larger. So where it says 2.5 by 16.5, cut it 3 by 17. The next one for section 7, it says 2.5 by 8.5, cut it 3 by 9 if you're able. Section 8, it says 2.5 by 12.5, cut it to 3 by 13 if you can. And section 13, it says 2.5 by 6.5, so cut it 3 by 7 if you can. All right, that's for fabric number 4. All right, and then fabric number 5, oh, I thought I had a hair on it, but it's a piece of thread. Forget that. All right, fabric number 5 is the black with white dots. All right, and again, I don't have a substitute for this one and no changes on this one. All right, so this is fabric number 5, black with white dots. Fabric number 6 is the light gray with white dots. All right, light gray with white dots. No substitution on this one, so you should receive this from our sponsor as is, and no changes to the cuts, or it's okay to stabilize them and all of that. All right, and then the next one, number 7, is the gray with white dots. No substitution on this, so you should have received this one from our sponsor. We're on number 7 for page 1, and there are 2 from this one that have border blocks. So it does say chenille trees, but it's the pot, so don't worry about that one. You can stabilize it. I like to stabilize my applique fabrics. That's up to you. Definitely stabilize at least the main background fabrics. All right, that's super important. So again, on this one, there are 2 border blocks. So for section 3, it says 2.5 by 6.5, so cut that to 3 by 7 if you can. And then border block for section 7, it says 4.5 by 6.5, so cut that to 5 by 7 if you can. All right, again, that's just my recommendation. It'll work either way. Don't worry if you already pre-cut before the prep video. All right, and then number 8, I call this lattice. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but I call this the lattice fabric. And this one there, again, I didn't receive a substitution from our sponsor, so hopefully you received this one or something similar, and no changes on this. So this is number 8. Go ahead and stabilize that one. All right, and then for number 9, fabric number 9, it is the yellow with swirl fabric. So this one, no changes on it. It says chenille trees, but it's the stars, so don't worry about that. It's not going to be chenilled. This one's not going to be chenilled, so you can go ahead and stabilize it if you choose. It's for the stars. So this is number 9, all right, and no substitution on that. Number 10, I have the doodle fabric, all right, the doodle fabric. This is for number 10, and there is one to not stabilize it. This is for one of the chenille trees. It's the second item down in this number 10 fabric. So it says chenille tree for section 4, and it's 4 pieces at 5 by 5. So don't stabilize that. And like I said, I find it easier if I write it on this page, but then I also write it on the fabric cutting page. So that, like I said, this is what I do. I put a little X on them to show not to stabilize those. All right, so that is fabric number 10. Don't stabilize the second one down, the chenille tree, 4 pieces that are 5 by 5. Don't stabilize those. And then there's 2 block borders on this one at the bottom. So section 2, it says 2.5 by 8.5. Cut that to 3 by 9. And then block border for section 7, it says 4.5 by 8.5. So cut that to 5 by 9. All right, if you can, cut yours a little bit bigger. All right, and then for fabric number 11, I don't have a substitute for this, so I'm assuming she got some for you. This is definitely a retired fabric, so hopefully you have this one or something similar. And there are 2 border blocks for this one, and they're pretty big pieces actually. So border block for section 1, it says 2.5 by 16.5, so cut that to 3 by 17 if you're able. And block border for section 8, 2.5 by 6.5, so cut that to 3 by 7 if you can. All right. And then last one for this page is the green, I don't know what they're called. It's got like green and dots and flowers and shapes, I guess. So this is for fabric number 12. There is a replacement for this one. So if you don't have this one from previous, you may have received this tufted from our sponsor. All right, this one is called tufted. And now either one of these will be great, and we just need to do our cutting of this. So on this one, there's one that says don't stabilize. So whether it's this one that you're using or the tufted, there's one piece that I don't want you to stabilize because we're going to use it for the chenille tree. So it is 4 pieces at 5 by 5. Don't stabilize. 4 pieces at 5 by 5 for section 7. That's for the chenille tree. Whenever we do chenille, you don't want to stabilize it because it will make it really pretty close to impossible to do that chenille. All right. So, and don't forget, you probably want the chenille brush. I don't have one handy, but there is a chenille brush. I'll add my Amazon storefront here. You can click on that and I'll put one of the chenille brushes in there. It works really great, or our sponsor might have one as well. All right, so that was for fabric number 12. That one is done. Let me put these aside and we'll move on to the next one. Hold up. Keep these in order. All right. So that was the first page of the new fabric requirement cut list. All right, so now we're moving on to the second page, and we are on number 13. So number 13, there was a little confusion with our sponsor on this, so I'm not absolutely completely sure, but I believe we figured it out. So the original is this lattice fabric. This is the original, and it looks to me like our sponsor sent this lines fabric. All right, there's a little note on it, but it was a little confusing because she's got numbers, and I don't know the numbers of the fabrics. I did Google it, so I just wanted to be sure. But I think that if you have the lattice from long ago, or if you have the lines from our sponsor, either one of these will work great. And you want these there's one piece not to stabilize, so we will use one of these for the chenille tree, and it's the second item down on this number 13 fabric, and it says 8 pieces at 5 by 5, 8 pieces. So make sure not to stabilize those. We are going to chenille it. All right, so take away those 8 pieces before you stabilize the rest of them. All right, and then there are also on this one, there's 2 border blocks. So on the section 6, it says 2.5 by 4.5. So if you could cut it to 3 by 5, that would be better, but either way will work. And then the other one for the block border is section 7, and it is 2.5 by 10.5. So I recommend cutting it to 3 by 11. All right, again, this is for fabric number 13, whether you have the original or the substitute, either one will be great. All right. And then we have number 14. So number 14, I don't see, oh, there is a substitute, my mistake. So this is number 14. It is the green plaid, the original plaid, and the substitute I believe that she has for this one, for number 14, she's got number 14 on there. That helps me. All right, this is fabric number 14. So it's the green with multi-dot. So whether you have the plaid or the multi-dot or whatever will work great. And there's no changes to that. It does say the chenille, it does say chenille on it, but this part of it is not going to be chenille. So don't worry about it. You can go ahead and stabilize that if you choose. All right, so that's fabric number 14. And then fabric number 15 is this, this is the original, and you can see it's the wavy stripes, but the substitution is a green mini awning, I think it's called. All right, either one of these will be great. And there are 2 changes on this one. So again, the original or the substitution, and there's 2 border blocks at the bottom. So for section 5, it says 4.5 by 6.5. So if you can cut that to 5 by 7, that will be great. And then the other border block for section 10 is 4.5 by 6.5. So again, if you can cut that one also to 5 by 7. And this is for fabric number 15. All right. And then fabric number 16 is the green stripes, and I don't see a substitute for that one. There is one thing I noticed on here. One of these that we're going to cut is for the bow, and I'm sure we don't want to stabilize the bow. I think that that would probably make it difficult to tie it into a bow. So it's the last item on this fabric number 16. It's for section 6, one piece that is 7.5 by 13. Don't stabilize that, okay? So again, I find it really helpful to just put an X on the cut guide for that. Let's see, where is that? It's this page, it's on page 4. So that's what I did. So I put a big X right there. So I know not to stabilize that. That's my little tip. That's what works for me. So hopefully that will work for you too. So again, that's fabric number 16. All right. And that's that green stripes. All right. Fabric number 17 is the green swirls. All right. The green swirls. Let's see, no changes on this one. No border blocks, no bows, no nothing. So fabric number 17, just as is. All right. And then number 18, and when I say just as is, you can stabilize that one if you stabilize your fabrics, which personally I definitely do. Even if you don't though, one of them is a background fabric. It says Candy Cane's background, so definitely stabilize your background fabrics, the main background, so you don't get puckering. I like to do it on my applique pieces as well. All right, number 18 is next. It is the green with white dots, and again, no changes to this, and I don't see a substitution for this one. All right, so fabric number 18. All right, and then fabric number 19 is the red dots. Now, one change on this one. The very last item for this one, for fabric number 19, it says present one bow. Don't stabilize it. Same thing as I said before, it probably would make it difficult to tie it into a bow. So this is for section 5, a piece that's 7.5 by 13. Don't stabilize that. So put a big X on that fabric cut guide. Don't stabilize this one. All right, just for that one piece. There's several pieces of this one, and all the other ones you can stabilize, but not that bow piece. All right. And then number 20. So 20, the original fabric is this red with circles and dots and flower pieces and stuff. But this one does have a substitution. So the substitution is the red with multi-dots on it. All right, multi-dots. So either one of these, let's see. Oh, we're going to use it. We're going to make a bow out of one of these as well. So again, the last item on number 20, fabric number 20, don't stabilize it. It is a 7.5 by 13 piece. So make sure to put a big X on your fabric cut guide for this number 20. You don't want to stabilize the bow piece. That's 7.5 by 13. All right, fabric number 20. And then number 21. So this one, the original, let me see here. Yep. Sorry, I got a little confused. So this is fabric number 21. This is the original one. It's red with holly leaves on it. No changes on that, except there is a substitution because this has been long discontinued. So the substitution for this one is the red tufted. All right. So either you have the red holly leaves or the red tufted. Either one will be great. And again, there's no changes on this one. You can go, oh, I'm wrong. Block border. I missed it. Sorry. Hold on. I got to write this down. All right. Sorry about that. So again, we are on fabric number 21. It's the red holly leaves or the tufted. And there are 2 border blocks on here at the bottom of the list of fabrics for this one for number 21. So border block section 2, it says 2.5 by 8.5. So I recommend cutting it to 3 by 9. And then border block in section 4, it's 4.5 by 12.5. I would cut it to 5 by 13 if you have enough fabric. If you're able to, it'll make it a little bit easier. All right, because we're going to quilt it and so forth. That's for fabric number 21. And then fabric number 22 is this houndstooth, the red houndstooth. This one has been discontinued, but I don't have a replacement for it. I will let you know from our sponsor if I hear differently, but this red houndstooth. And there are 2 border blocks on this one down at the bottom of the cut list. So border block in section 2, it says 2.5 by 6.5. So I would cut that to 3 by 7 if you're able. And the other one is in section 11, and that one says 4.5 by 6.5. I would cut that to 5 by 7 if you're able to. This is for fabric number 22. All right, and then fabric number 23 is the red lattice fabric, and we just need a 2.5 by width of fabric strip. So let's see here, 2.5, yep, that's all. So we just have little cuts on this one. So no changes on this. It is the lattice fabric, so you should have received that from our sponsor. We're just gonna cut a bunch of 2.5 by 2.5 pieces for that, for the holly leaves and berries and 9 patch. All right, so no changes on that one. And then the last one for page 2 is the red scroll fabric. So this is for fabric number 24. And I don't see any changes on that one. There is a chenille cuff, but it's not. We're doing this for the stocking, so this part will not be chenilled. All right, so no changes on this one. This is for fabric number 24. Archer thinks it's bath time. He's giving himself a bath, so excuse that if you could hear that in the background. All right, I'm going to put all of these page 2 ones aside and get page 3. Hold on. Okay, page 3. Turn the page. We're on the last page of fabrics. So the first one is, let's see, it's under my little piece here, number 25. Fabric number 25 is this red awning. I think that's what it's called, red awning. And no changes to this, so go ahead and stabilize it if that's what you do. I like to do that, as you know. All right, and then fabric number 26. So the original is this red zigzag stripes, and there is a substitute. This one was discontinued quite a while ago. So this one had the substitute is the newer red wavy. All right, I don't know what it's called, wavy stripes, something like that. It is gonna, both of these will be directional, so keep that in mind when you're cutting that. And no changes to this one other than the fact that there is a substitution. So this is the original one or the substitution from our sponsor. All right, and then number 27 on page 3 is the white with white dots. Hopefully you can see that. And it looks like there's no changes, no substitutions, nothing for this one. So this is fabric number 27. And then fabric number 28 is the white with holly leaves. This has been discontinued, but I don't have a substitute for it. So I'm assuming our sponsor was able to get it for you. And no changes to this one. All right, fabric number 28. And then fabric 29, this one is the white houndstooth. Hopefully you can see that. White houndstooth, and there is one on here that we don't want to stabilize. It's for the cuff on that stocking. So it says in section 3 and 9, 8 pieces at 2 by 3. Don't stabilize that. Put a little X on your fabric cut guide so that you make sure not to stabilize it. That's the white houndstooth, fabric number 29. All right, and then fabric number 30 is the white scrolls. All right. And let's see, that's fabric number 30 and no changes to it, no substitutions, nothing. Fabric number 30. All right, and then fabric number 31 is the white with snow on it. You probably can't see that. white on white with snow. All right, and I don't know how to show it to you, but believe me, it's white on white with snow. All right, and this one, we need a half a yard of this. This is a lot. Oh, I don't think I have that much. That might be a problem. I'll probably have to substitute my own. So on this one, there are no changes, no substitutions. Fabric number 31. All right. And then fabric number 32 is the white with black dots. And there are 2 border blocks for this one. It does say chenille tree. It's the background though, so don't worry about it. We are not going to chenille it. But for the border blocks, there's section 1. It says 2.5 by 6.5. So if you can cut that to 3 by 7. And then border block for section 9, it says 2.5 by 8.5. So if you can cut that to 3 by 9, I recommend that. All right, that is the last one for page 3, and then we just have the inner borders and outer borders. So let me grab those real quick. Hold on. All right, so for the inner borders, so I don't have sizes or anything on these. I do stabilize mine and I will quilt them. My recommendation, I'll tell you right now, I don't have sizing, but I recommend that to cut it a 1/2 inch larger, at least a 1/2 inch larger. Not the width wise, but the length, just in case, just to make sure that that quilting isn't going to shrink it down a little bit, at least a 1/2 inch, preferably even more, but whatever you can do. So, but we won't even really discuss that until we get there, because we have to measure our quilt to know what size we're going to need. All right, so for the inner borders, you have a couple of options. So the first option in here, the original, is the red with lattice, the red lattice. All right, that's for the inner border. Let's see, so they did substitute, instead of the red lattice, you can do, the substitute from our sponsor is the red with white dots. So either one of those. And then it does show another option that if you wanted, you can do black with white dots. You can see I'm not going to do that because I have a tiny little piece. But that is, so the way that they have it is if you're using a black outer border, then you do the red inner border. And if you're doing the white outer border, then you do the black. But I don't have this, and I do have the white outer border. So mine's going to be a little different. I'm going to do the red inner border and the black outer border. So, oh no, white. I have white. Sorry, my mistake. White outer border. So again, this is the original one, and there is a substitution of the red with white dots, or in the book it shows you can do the black with white dots too. Your quilt, your way. You do it however you want to do it, really. All right, so then our sponsor, let's see, for the outer borders, I am going to do this white Jingle fabric. I think that this is the original. It must be the original because I bought it ages ago. So that's what I'm going to use for my outer borders, and it is the white. What they're recommending is, or what our sponsor, I should say, our sponsor, so you can either do, this is the original, you can do the white outer border, or you can do the exact same one in black. All right, so remember I was saying that they suggest the white outer border with the black inner border, or the black outer border with the red inner border. I don't have that black, so I'm going to use the red inner border with this white. These are the two originals though. All right, this is the original Jingle fabric, either in white or black. So what our sponsor gave us is, instead of this black Jingle fabric, we're getting the black whisk fabric, which is beautiful. This is super beautiful. So this will work great. Again, it's a substitution, so that will work great. Maybe I'll even do that, but I like this. I bought this ages ago, so I think I'll use that. So you have options on that, whatever works for you. Those are for the inner borders and outer borders. There aren't sizes yet because we're going to measure our quilt to determine what we need. And in case I forget to tell you later, when we get there, we're going to cut them a little bit bigger just to make sure that they all fit together right. And then we have all of our embellishments that are in our embellishment kit. I'm not going to go over that. I'm going to start stabilizing my fabric. I will give you time to do that as well. I am also going to make a batting cut guide. I have not started on that yet. I need to cut my fabrics and stabilize them, but I will add like a PDF that you can do a screenshot to be able to get those batting cuts, and I'll add them to our Cristin Creates group on Facebook as well. All right, so it's time to start prepping for our new project. Oh, I'm pretty excited. I hate the prep process. I have to tell you, I can't stand the prep process. It's so boring, but it makes it so that we're getting closer and closer to doing our actual project to start it. All right, time to prep.